The sun rises over the west bank of the Eurotas River as a new child is born. The child is kicking, crying, and screaming. But if you knew what was in store for the child, you want to let them be immature for a few more minutes. After all, it's the last time that they'll ever be allowed to cry. Welcome to Sparta, kid, where your life and death belong completely to your country. Your parents look at you proudly, expecting great things from you. As Spartans, their greatest wish is for you to go out into the field of battle and bring glory to Sparta. But before any of that can happen, you must first pass inspection. If you are a man, you are under scrutiny from the moment you were born till the moment you died, and all of it started with inspection. The way it worked was simple. Not long after your birth, you would be taken to Gerousia, a council of elder Spartans who would inspect you as if you were livestock. If the boy looked like he was physically or mentally handicapped, then he was of no use to the Spartan army. These infants would then be taken out in the wild and are left to fend for themselves. There have been some myths of babies surviving out in the wilds for long periods of time, and sometimes they get adopted by people who found them, but most of these babies would end up dead less than a week later. But if you survived inspection, then congratulations, because you just got yourself a one-way ticket to a life of discipline, hard work, and the worst body odor imaginable. Right from their birth, Spartan children were groomed into tough and manly men. They weren't bathed in water. Instead, they were bathed in barrels of wine. Some of the children would have a bad reaction to the wine, but all that it meant was a couple more children to eliminate, and fewer weak soldiers on the battlefield. From the moment you were born, you were expected to be tough and independent. If you ended up crying or complaining for whatever reason, then your parents would completely ignore you. This way, you learned that you have to fight for everything you want. You are also conditioned to not fear darkness or solitude. There are stories of babies being left in the dark on their own so that they get used to it. Why? Because you had to become the perfect soldier. As a boy, the only career choice you had was to become a soldier. Even thinking of having any dreams or aspirations outside of joining the military was not allowed. These soldiers, better known as hoplites, were the backbone of Spartan society, and they lived by one rule: return with your shield or on it. And the training to be one of them started ripe and early at the age of 7. This training was known as agoge, and every man in Sparta would be part of it until they reached the age of 30. The simplest way to describe this training is that if you had survived to age 7, congratulations, you're finally done with the easiest years of your life. Now, it's time for the real deal. You were put in the care of a paidonomos, which basically translates to boy herder. You would start at the first level of agoge, called the paids, which would last from the day you turned 7 until the age of 17. Then comes the paidoskoi, lasting from 17 to 19 years of age. And finally, the habantes, aged 20 to 29. Of course, you don't understand any of this, considering that you're just a spoiled 7-year-old brat who had lived a life of luxury compared to what's going to come next. If you thought not getting any love from your parents was bad, then imagine being packed in barracks with hundreds of other boys your age and trained day in and day out for 10 long years. The training regimen was extremely brutal and would push you to your absolute limits, and then ask you to give even more. Worse was how everyone else treated you. Spartans believed that feeding people as much as they wanted would lead to soft, fat soldiers, so they decided to give everyone slightly less food than what they would need, to make sure they don't get fat. If you felt hungry, you were encouraged to try and steal food from others or from the kitchen. But if you got caught, you would be punished. Not because you tried to steal, but because you were too weak to do it without getting caught. This meant that you had to protect everything you had and the food you received. If you were hungry, so was everyone else, and showing weakness would be your end. All that Sparta cares about is the cream of the crop, so the paidonomos and other people in charge would intentionally cause fights between the boys to see who was the strongest. Hungry, young, and irritable, you would all be too happy to fight someone if it meant you could eat some more food. This hunger did lead to some benefits though. After all, when you were out on the battlefield and your rations were running low, years of feeling hungry meant that you didn't even feel a thing. While your opponents ran out of strength and felt hungry after hours of battle, you could still stand, strong as ever. Around the age of 12, the next step of your training would become. Everything you had, including your clothes, would be taken from you, and you would be sent outside to sleep in the wilds. All you would have is a red cloak, and from there, you would have to find shelter, food, and water to sustain yourself or perish. And things would get even worse when the girls would visit. These girls would sing in assembly halls for the gathered elders and soldiers in training, and in their songs, They would single out kids who had been underperforming and make fun of them for everyone to see. In Spartan society, girls had to go through their own strict regimen, but I'll talk more about that later. But all of this abuse meant that by the time Spartan boys reached adulthood, they were ready to withstand the pain, hunger, and cold of the battlefield. They had been taught the art of warfare, hunting, athletics, reading, writing, and poetry, and with these skills, they were ready to crush the enemy. But before they could become proper soldiers, they had to go through one last trial. This was the Dymastogosis, also known as the Contest of Endurance. Simply put, teen boys would be taken to the sanctuary of Artemis Orthia, an important religious site dedicated to the goddess Artemis, and then would be flogged, sometimes to death. This practice was meant to not only test the boys' pain tolerance, but was also an important religious ritual in Spartan customs. Over time, it became highly famous all over Greece, to the point that visitors would visit just to see it with their own eyes, and an amphitheater was built to accommodate more people. Finally, if you somehow managed to survive all this, you could finally give yourself a pat on the back. Some of the worst years of your life were finally over, and you might get a couple moments to rest. At least, if there's not a war going on. And considering Sparta, that was never possible. And while the Agoge was bad, war was complete hell, where you would be left to fend for yourself or die. Luckily, years of training had taught you what to do, and so, more often than not, Spartan soldiers would claim victory, but it wouldn't come without sacrifices. The same thing went for women and marriage. As a man, your first and only duty was the glory of Sparta. For the first 30 years of your life, being a good soldier was all that mattered, which meant that there was little time for romantic relationships. At the same time, it was expected that men would get married early, mostly in the early 20s, to the point that if you weren't married by the time you were 30, you were ridiculed. But while you might be married, communal living with your fellow soldiers wouldn't end until you're 30 years old, which meant you either had to sneak out at night to be intimate with your wife or stay a virgin forever. Or the third option was to do the deed with the other male soldiers living with you. Eventually, if you managed to survive all this and live to the age of 60, you would be given the chance to join the Gerousia yourself and raise a new generation of Spartan soldiers. On the other hand were the girls of Sparta, and they had a much easier time as compared to the men. Unlike men, they didn't have to go through inspection, and it's likely that all the infants killed were boys. Girls were generally trained in a much more different set of skills, from dancing and singing to even javelin throwing so that they would be strong, healthy mothers. The duty of these girls was to give birth to an even stronger generation of Spartan men. Since most of the menial labor was done by slaves that Spartan men would capture on their exploits, women were given a high amount of freedom and would often be the ones managing the house. As a woman in Sparta, you can even own land and inherit property as well as get a proper education. You would also be put through a training regimen of your own where you were built up to be just as strong as the men who were training to go to war. Women who died in childbirth would be honored just as much as men who died on the battlefield. So, that's life in Sparta. At age 65, as you lie in your bed, you feel that death is near. At your age, it feels more like a reward to die than anything else. You survive countless hardships, from losing loved ones to the pains of training to going to war and watching your comrades fall in battle. You survived, battle after battle, and even now, you have your shield with you. Hopefully, the next crop of Spartan soldiers can bring even more glory to this beautiful land. Your final thought as you feel yourself slipping away is that maybe this is how a Spartan is supposed to go. It would have been good to fall in battle though, instead of dying alone in bed. But in the end, maybe this is all that a Spartan can ask for. You're lying on the ground, your vision blurring as pain shoots through your body. You look down, there's a crossbow bolt stuck in your shoulder. Your men are panicking, but deep down, you already know. You survived countless battles, fought wars across continents. But this is how it ends? A lucky shot from some random guy on a castle wall. Right now, you're dying, and there's nothing anyone can do to stop it. But how did you even end up here? Let's go back 41 years, to the day you entered the world. So you're just born in 12th century in England as Richard. You don't know it yet, but your life is already set up to be a mess. You take your first breath in Beaumont Palace, Oxford, but don't get too comfortable. You won't even grow up in England. Before you can even walk, you're shipped off to France, where your real job begins, surviving. As a baby, all you really want to do is sleep, dookie your diapers, and be left alone. But life has other plans. Your father, King Henry II is too busy running an empire to care about you. And your mother, Eleanor of Aquitaine, is more focused on ruling her own lands. Their marriage is already falling apart, and soon enough, they'll be at war with each other. Family time doesn't exist. But for now, you're just a baby. You don't even realize you just pooped yourself, and the nurse is about to change your diapers for the 10th time this day. Your older brother Henry is the heir, the one who's supposed to take the throne. That means he gets all the attention, the best training, and the pressure of ruling one day. So you're kinda just there. No one's really sure what to do with you yet, but one thing is clear. You're not getting an easy life. Instead of growing up in cozy English castles, you get shipped off to Aquitaine, a land full of nobles who despise your family. While other kids get bedtime stories, you get lessons on how not to get assassinated. And forget about a normal childhood. The moment you're old enough to hold a sword, you're expected to fight for your family's power. There's no childhood, no carefree days, just non-stop training and constant pressure. And since you're being raised in a place where half the population wants you gone, every day is a reminder that your life isn't really yours. Your mom is too busy ruling her lands to tuck you in at night, and your dad is barely around. At this point, the only consistent presence in your life is your nurse, and she's the only one who actually cares if you live to see another day. But none of that matters yet. Right now, you can't think about betrayal, war, or assassins hiding in the shadows, because you don't even know how to think yet. You just want a nap, and also, you pooped yourself again. The years roll on, and life still sucks. Now that you're old enough to walk, talk, and hopefully stop dookying yourself, the real fun begins. The nobles in Aquitaine already hate your family, and since you're supposed to rule over them one day, they hate you too. Assassination attempts aren't just possible, they're expected. Other kids worry about bedtime, you worry about making it to bedtime. Poison is a daily concern. Every meal could be poison, every servant might be a spy, and every castle visit might end with someone accidentally pushing you off a tower. If someone hands you a drink, there's a solid chance they're hoping it's your last one. Eating isn't about enjoying food, it's just about not dying. You're a prince, but not the fun kind. No golden toys, no peaceful castles, just constant paranoia and sword training, because if you can't fight, you won't last long. Family life isn't much better. Your mom, Eleanor of Aquitaine, is one of the most powerful women in Europe, but your dad, King Henry II, isn't exactly thrilled about sharing control. The relationship is a constant power struggle, and you're just another piece on their political chessboard. Your older brother Henry is the golden boy who gets all the attention, while you're expected to fight for scraps. Then your dad decides he's had enough of your mom's ambitions and locks her in a castle like she's a threat to national security. Now she's stuck, and you barely get to see her. By the time you're a teenager, you're done playing along. Your dad isn't just controlling your life, he's controlling your future. There's no chance he's handing over power, so the only way forward is to take it. At 16, you start an armed rebellion against your own father, but it doesn't go well. Your dad crushes the rebellion so fast, it's embarrassing. You barely escape with your life, and now you're forced to play nice while waiting for another chance. Your mom is still locked up, your older brother is still the favorite, and you're stuck pretending to be a loyal son while secretly planning your next move. After the failed rebellion, things don't exactly improve. Your dad still doesn't trust you, and now you have to work twice as hard to prove that you're not planning another betrayal. Except you are, just not yet. And with that, the family drama keeps getting worse. Your older brother Henry, the one who's always got special treatment, suddenly dies of illness. Normally, that'd be a tragedy, but for you, it's an opportunity. With him out of the way, you're suddenly the heir to the throne. The problem is, your dad still doesn't want to hand over any real power. He plays favorites when it suits him, and right now, he's looking at your youngest brother John like he should be the next king instead of you. John has never led an army, never fought a real battle, and probably gets lost in his own castle. But sure, let's consider him for a king. Meanwhile, you're out here actually defending the family's lands, proving yourself in battle, and dealing with nobles who'd rather see you dead than ruling over them. If there's one thing that you are good at, it's fighting. While your father sits on the throne, refusing to pass the torch, you're out leading military campaigns, crushing rebellions, and turning into a warrior that people fear. If a problem can't be solved with a sword, you don't care about it. At least on the battlefield, things make sense. You fight, you win, you survive. Simple. But just when it seems like you're finally in control, life finds another way to punch you in the face. While traveling back from the Crusades, you take a shortcut through enemy territory, expecting a quiet trip. Instead, you step into a castle, the doors slam shut, and before you can react, you just got kidnapped. You barely have time to think. One minute you were a king heading home, the next you're being dragged through a dark hallway, wrists tied up, stepping over God knows what's on the floor. The whole place smells like piss, sweat, and something rotten. Then, splat, something wet hits your shoulder. You freeze. That's not water. You slowly look up and see some massive prisoner pressed against the bars, smiling in a creepy way like he just pulled off the best joke of his life. He just threw his piss at you, and he's laughing. Welcome to your new home. You keep moving, no point in wiping it off. This place is filthy anyways. The guards shove you into a cell and slam the door shut. That's it, you're in. But at least you're alone now, you can breathe. Or so you think. A deep, raspy breath comes from the dark corner of the cell. It's coming from the far corner where the light doesn't reach. You squint, trying to make something out, but all you see is darkness, and then movement. A massive shadowy figure shifts in the corner, exhaling another deep, wet breath. You swear the entire cell shakes when he inhales again. You're pretty sure whatever lurking there isn't just a person, it's a problem. And before you can even deal with that problem, the toilet door swings open. Out steps another prisoner, built like a warhorse. Arms like tree trunks, chest wide enough to block the doorway. He's looking right at you. Not just a glance, he's staring. Like he found something interesting. The smell in here is horrible. The air is thick. You can hear every drip from the ceiling. Every slow breath from the guy in the corner. Every step from the musclehead who won't stop watching you. You just got here and you already know. This isn't just prison. This is hell. Literally. You hardly slept that night. Not because you weren't tired. You were. But with someone snoring in the corner, musclehead chewing on a rat, and something sketchy dripping from the ceiling, there was no way you were getting any sleep. And then, just when your stomach growls loud enough to get their attention, the guards bring in food, if you can even call it that. A bowl of what looks like prison slop, but smells like rotten feet. A chunk of bread so hard it could be used as a weapon, and something that might have been meat, but honestly, even the rats are avoiding it. You take a bite of the bread and immediately regret your life choices. This isn't food, it's construction material. You think about complaining, but then you look at the musclehead across from you, happily chewing on his live rat, and suddenly, the bread doesn't seem so bad. Months go by, and your release fee is being negotiated. Being the King of England has its perks, like having people ready to pay a fortune to get you out. But it's not that simple after all. The Holy Roman Emperor, the guy holding you hostage, wants a ridiculous amount of money. The kind of money that can fund an entire war. England's citizens are being taxed into oblivion just to get you out, and let's just say they're not happy about it. After endless back and forth, the payment is finally made. You're free, but don't get too excited. Your life still sucks, because now it's time for your amazing marriage. You marry Berengaria of Navarre, a woman you spend about as much time with as you did in that rat-infested prison. No kids, no real relationship, and no interest. This marriage is nothing more than a political thing. Then you return to England, but it's not the homecoming you imagine. The payment to get you out has drained the country's wealth, and your people aren't exactly throwing a party for you. Your brother John has been scheming behind your back, and Philip II of France has taken parts of your land while you were in prison. Instead of ruling in peace, you're thrown back into battle, spending the next few years fighting to reclaim what's yours. By 1199, you find yourself outside a tiny unimportant castle called Chalice Chabrol, all because of a petty argument over some hidden gold. It's not even worth your time, but you're here anyway, leading yet another siege. Then it happens. A crossbowman takes a shot. The arrow hits your shoulder, not an instantly deadly wound, but deep enough to be trouble. At first, you shrug it off. You survived worse, but the wound worsens. Infection sets in, and suddenly, you realize this is it. As you lie there, the guy who shot you is dragged in. He's expecting the worst. Instead, in a rare moment of mercy, you let him go. Maybe because you know this is how this ends. At 41 years old, after a life of war, betrayal, and non-stop struggle. You die over an argument about gold. But even after you're dead, things still get worse. You don't just get buried. Your body is ripped apart and sent to different places. Your heart gets sent to row in, like a lost package, because that's where people liked you the most. Your body gets dumped in a tomb at Frontenac Abbey, next to your parents. Great, now you're stuck with them forever. As for your insides, they just tossed them somewhere else, like garbage nobody wanted to deal with. Your whole legacy is split up like leftovers. No big fancy tomb, no resting in one piece, just bits of you spread all over the place. Even in death, you can't catch a break. So what do you think? A pretty messed up way to go, right? So you're hiding under the bed, heart pounding as your kidnappers close in. Any second now, they'll drag you out and make your life a living nightmare. Right now, you're a prisoner, held hostage, and things are only about to get worse. But how did you even end up here? Let's go back 11 years, exactly to the moment you were born. It's the 15th century, and you take your first breath in Sighișoara, Romania. Your name? Vlad. One day, they'll call you the Impaler. But for now, you're just a baby who doesn't even realize you just pooped yourself. Life starts out pretty normal, for like 5 minutes. Your dad, Vlad the Dracul, is a big deal, part of some knightly order. Sounds cool, right? Well, not really, because being important in the 1400s just means that people want you dead. You grow up in a fancy but not so cozy castle. No cartoons, no toys, no love. Just a lot of serious looking knights talking about war, politics, and betrayal. You don't get it yet, but your last name, Dracul, puts a massive target on your back, and you'll know why soon. Your dad is playing a very dangerous game, switching sides between the mighty Holy Roman Empire and the scary Ottoman Empire. He thinks he's being smart, but he and all of your family are about to regret it soon. But let's not get ahead of ourselves. You're still just a kid, hanging out in the castle, trying to figure out why everyone around you looks so serious all the time. Maybe you're running around, playing some games with your shadow because you're lonely, throwing rocks at the walls, or, if you're feeling extra, eating a bit too much bread, which is probably the best part of life back then. Life's simple, or at least it seems that way. But one day, everything flips. The Ottomans, who your dad's been cozying up to, suddenly turn on him. And that's the thing about being important in the 1400s. Everyone is your friend, until they're not. The Ottomans decide that they had enough of Vlad the Dracul's games, so they make their move. And guess who gets stuck in the middle of this mess? You and your little brother Radu. You're just 11 years old when the soldiers storm your castle while you're shitting in the toilet. And before you even understand what's happening, you're ripped away from everything you know. No time to think about it, no time to fight them back, just cold hands dragging you and Radu away into the unknown. Next thing you know, you're prisoners of the Ottoman Empire. At first, it's terrifying. You're just a kid, forced into a foreign land, surrounded by people who don't speak your language, so you communicate with your hands. But the thing is, the Ottomans have bigger plans for you. They don't want you dead. No, they want to turn you into one of them. And what's even scarier is that being with them is actually worse than being dead. Because the conditions are just... In there, you and Radu aren't treated like noble prisoners. No fancy rooms, no respect, just two scared kids thrown into a nightmare. You're forced to clean the dirty stone floors, wash the clothes of the same guards who laugh at you, and worst of all, the toilets, if you can even call them that. Just a deep, stinking hole filled with everyone's filth. Every morning, they make you clean it with nothing but a bucket in your bare hands. No matter how much you wash, the smell never leaves. It sticks to your skin, your clothes, your hair. The other prisoners smell it too, and they don't let you forget it. But the worst part isn't the work, it's the fear. Every night, you and Radu curl up into the corner of your cell, trying to stay as small as possible. The place is full of scary men, killers, thieves, warriors who lost their battles. And there's one in particular, a huge, silent man who always sits in the corner, his eyes never leaving you. Radu is convinced that one night, he'll get up, walk over, and sit on your face until you can't breathe anymore. Until you're dead. You tell him that won't happen to calm yourself down, but deep down, you know that's gonna happen one day. You barely sleep. The second you close your eyes, you're stuck between bad dreams and worse reality. Will the guards come in and drag you away? Will some prisoner decide to take their anger out on you? And then, just when you think things can't get worse, something changes. because the Ottomans don't just want to break you, they want to turn you into one of them. At first, you don't get it. You think that they want to just keep you locked up forever, treating you like dirt. But slowly, things start to change. One day, instead of cleaning toilets, they throw you into the training yard. No explanation, no warning, just a wooden sword shoved into your hand. Before you even react, a soldier 3 times your size smacks you so hard you hit the ground like a sack of potatoes. The other soldiers laugh. That's when you realize they're not training you now because they care about you. They're training you so they can use you. They don't just want you to suffer. They want to break you down, turn you into something useful, something they can control. A puppet for their empire. Day after day, they push you harder. Fighting, riding horses, learning their language, their rules. You don't get a choice. Every mistake is punished. Sometimes with words, sometimes with whips. You bleed, you bruise, but you survive. But Radu, he handles it differently. At first, he's just as scared as you. But over time, he starts changing. He listens, he obeys, and he never fights them back. And the Ottomans notice. They give him nicer clothes, let him eat real food, even treat him with a bit of kindness compared to their treatment of you. He's still a prisoner, but they're pulling him in, slowly making him one of them. And you refuse to bend, which only makes things worse. The food is just another part of the torture. Every day, you get the same thing. A rock-hard piece of bread, sometimes filled with tiny hairs that you pretend not to see, and a bowl of soup that tastes like expired water. You don't ask what's in it, you don't want to know. Meanwhile, Radu eats with the Ottomans, fresh meat, warm rice, and sweet fruits. The difference is clear. They want him to feel at home. They want you to suffer. Years pass. You're no longer a scared little boy. You're stronger now, sharper. You've learned their ways, but you never let them break you. You wait, you watch, and you never forget what they did to you. Then, something happens. Your father, Vlad the Dracul, is murdered, betrayed by his own people. And if that wasn't enough, your older brother, Mircea, is captured and buried alive. Just like that, your family is wiped out. All except for you and Radu. The Ottomans see an opportunity. They don't kill you. They send you back. Not because they're doing you a favor, but because they know you'll be useful. They place you on a throne of Wallachia, thinking you'll be their puppet. That after years of suffering, you'll obey like Radu did. But they have no idea what they created. You're not their pawn. You're Vlad Dracula. And soon, the world will know why they should fear that name. After your father's death and your brother's capture, you find yourself back in Wallachia. Not as a hero, but as a puppet. The Ottomans, thinking that they completely broken you, send you home with the expectation that you'll kiss their feet and rule like a good little king. They couldn't be more wrong. You walk into Wallachia, and it's a mess. The kingdom is falling apart, lords fighting each other, people starving. Everything is just a big pile of problems. You're not handed the throne, but you grab it. You see all this mess, and you figure you're the only one who's crazy enough to fix it. So you decide to go all in. No speeches, no promises to help the poor, just making everyone really scared. First thing on your agenda? The beggars. You got zero time for people sitting around asking for scraps when your kingdom is falling apart. So you think, why not just burn down the banquet hall with the beggars inside? Yep, you decide to kill 2 birds with 1 stone. Get rid of the beggars and show everyone that if you're not working, you're not surviving. But that's just the warm-up. You want to make sure no one messes with you. So you set up a solid gold cup in the middle of a fountain. You tell everyone they can drink from it, but if anyone steals it, they'll get impaled. The whole town stares at the cup like it's a cursed treasure. No one even thinks about touching it. That's how scared they are of you. Next, you turn your focus on the nobles who sold your dad out and got him killed. You invite them to a fancy dinner to show them how forgiven they are. But now that they fell for it, you have them all impaled one by one. Some suffer a slow death. Others get forced to work as slaves until they drop. Finally, the Ottomans think that they can just walk in and take over, but it's quite the opposite. You set up 20,000 dead bodies on spikes outside of your city, the forest of the impaled, to make sure the Ottoman army gets the message. They take one look and decide to turn around and leave. You've officially won. You're not just a ruler anymore. You're Vlad Dracula, the Impaler, the guy everyone's way too scared to mess with. right? At least, that's what people thought. But even with all that power, your life didn't get any better. You thought that being in control would bring peace, but instead, it brought you nightmares. Every night, you can't sleep. Your mind is full of the faces of the people you killed and tortured. People who probably didn't deserve it, but in your mind, they did. They were part of the mess that ruined your family, that made you the way you are. But the worst part? You can't stop thinking about the people who killed your dad and betrayed your family. They're always there in your thoughts, like shadows that won't leave. And on top of that, there's him, your brother, Radu. You can't shake the idea that he's the biggest traitor of them all. The Ottomans have him now, and you think that he's turned his back on you, joined the enemy. You feel like your brother should have stood by you, should have been the one to help you take back what's yours. But instead, he's with the people who betrayed your family. You tell yourself you need revenge. You have to make them pay for what he's done, for what you think they've done. Every day, it's the same thought, over and over, and you can't escape it. The more you think about it, the more you feel trapped. You want peace, but it's nowhere in sight. Instead, you're buried deeper and deeper into the hole you dug for yourself, all while the ghost of your past and the anger towards your brother haunt you. And with each passing day, it's harder to tell if you're living in a kingdom or just a prison of your own making. So the years go by, but even with all the power you grabbed, things aren't really getting better. Your kingdom starts feeling more like a ticking time bomb. The Ottomans are still breathing down your neck, so you know you can't stop fighting. But the thing is, the people around you are getting tired of your ways. The boyars, the nobles in your land, are getting pretty sick of all the fear and bloodshed. They see you less of a ruler and more of a walking disaster. So they finally decide to do something about it. They plot against you. But you're not just gonna let them win. You find out about it and act fast to crush it. But even after stopping it, you don't feel safe. You start to think everyone around you, even your closest allies, might be your enemies. Time goes on, and despite all your bloodshed, it all falls apart. In 1462, the boyars finally overthrow you. After all that impaling, all that fighting, you're captured, thrown into prison. The funny thing is, after everything you did, you end up a prisoner in your own kingdom. You're stuck with no one left to fear except your own thoughts. And now, you're Vlad the Impaler. Still a legend, but not the kind you wanted. You were supposed to be the king, feared by everyone. And after everything, your end isn't dramatic or glorious. In 1476, you try to take back your throne, but it doesn't work out. Your enemies surprise you, capture you, and kill you. They cut off your head and send it to Constantinople to show what you became. And just like that, Vlad the Impaler's era ends. Vlad's life was anything but peaceful. It was full of betrayal, killing, imprisonment, and a whole lot more. So here you are, standing on the battlefield, and guess who's in front of you? Your own son. You don't know how it came to this. You don't understand why your own flesh and blood is trying to kill you. But there's no time to think. You have to fight. How did it all go so wrong? Why does your son want you dead? It all sounds hella confusing, so we need to go back 60 years when you, Arthur, are born, to the night your father, Uther Pendragon, tricked your mother into creating you. That night, everything changed. Your father, Uther, wasn't some noble, righteous kind. He was obsessed. He wanted your mother Igraine so badly that he made a deal with a sorcerer, Merlin. With a little magic, Uther took the form of Igraine's husband, the Duke of Cornwall. He walked into her chambers, and she had no clue it wasn't the man she married. 9 months later, you were born. It was a twisted beginning, but Uther didn't get Merlin's help for free. The price was you. The moment you took your first breath, you were already taken away, raised by a knight instead of your own mother. She had no idea what had really happened. From birth, your fate was sealed. You weren't just a prince, you were a pawn, a piece in someone else's game. And this was only the beginning of the disaster that would define your life. It's shit from the start, and it's about to get even shittier with time, as we'll see. You know what else is shit? My feelings if you don't subscribe to this channel right now. So, you're born into a kingdom that's already a complete disaster. Your father, Uther Pendragon, calls himself the King of Britain, but that doesn't mean much. Britain's a mess. Nothing but warlords fighting over land, backstabbing each other, and burning down villages for fun. Uther spends his whole life killing anyone who gets in his way, barely keeping things under control. The second he dies, the whole kingdom collapses. With no clear heir, every noble with an army decides they should be the next king. Civil war erupts, towns are destroyed, entire families are wiped out, and knights roam the land, killing whoever stands in their way. Meanwhile, your life couldn't be worse. Instead of growing up in a castle, you're dumped in the house of Sir Ector, a random knight who has no idea who you really are. There's no royal treatment, just endless work and misery. While Ector's real son, Kay, gets trained like a proper knight, you're stuck doing the filthiest, most humiliating jobs. Washing Kay's sweaty, dirty armor after training, scrubbing old toilets that haven't been cleaned in months, and scooping out the horse stables first thing in the morning. The smell of piss, manure, and unwashed bodies sticks to you no matter how much you try to clean yourself. Sleeping on a pile of straw that stinks like horse poop is the closest thing to comfort you'll ever get. And food isn't much better. You eat last, after everyone has taken the good parts. Dry bread, bits of gristle, whatever's left on the bone after the real knights are done. If Kay's having a bad day, it's taken out on you, whether it's extra work, getting shoved around, or blamed for something that wasn't your fault. Life is a never-ending cycle of exhaustion, filth, and getting treated like absolute garbage. Then, one day, something completely insane happens. A sword appears in the middle of London, stuck in an anvil, with a message saying, whoever pulls it out is the rightful king. The strongest warriors in the kingdom try their best, but the sword wouldn't budge. One by one, they fail. At a big tournament, you're there, as usual, running around like a servant. Right before his match, Kay realizes he forgot his sword. Instead of getting it himself, he orders you to find one. If you come back empty-handed, there's going to be hell to pay. Rushing through the streets, you spot a sword in the stone. There's no time to think. Grabbing the hilt, you pull. It slides free like it was never stuck at all. Everything stops. The people nearby stare. Whispers spread. The impossible just happened, and you were the one who did it. The nobles demand a do-over, refusing to believe some nobody pulled it out. So they put the sword back and make you do it again, and again, and again. Each time, it comes free like nothing. You're declared King of Britain. The warlords aren't happy. They refuse to accept you. Some laugh in your face. Others storm off, already planning how to kill you. You're not their king. You're just some clueless squire who got lucky. Life, which was already unbearable, somehow finds a way to get worse. Now, instead of washing Kay's stinky underwear, you have to figure out how to survive. You're 16 now, King of Britain, but still that same kid who used to clean horse stables. The crown's heavy, and the weight of it doesn't make anything easier. You're supposed to rule, but every noble has their own agenda, and no one really sees you as a true king. They call you the Boy King, laugh behind your back, and do their best to undermine you every chance they get. Then the first real battle hits. You're supposed to lead your army, but you never fought like this before. The battlefield's a nightmare. Blood, screams, men dying all around you. You barely survive. And when it's over, you're not a hero. You're just a kid who happened to make it out alive. The weight of being a king starts to sink in. The expectations are too high, and you're starting to crack under them. Things get worse when your knights, the ones who are supposed to stand by you, start falling apart. Lancelot, your closest friend, gets too close to Guinevere, your wife. You trust them both, and in the end, that trust is shattered. The affair stabs you right in the heart. The one man you thought you could count on betrays you, and the one woman you thought you loved has turned her back. Your kingdom is starting to crumble, but no one seems to care. As if that wasn't enough, your son, Mordred, who you barely know, rises against you. The kid you never wanted, the kid you never even raised. See, Mordred was the product of another one of your father's stupid plans. Uther Pendragon, your dear old dad, had an affair with your sister, Morgan Le Fay. You didn't know about it at the time, but Morgan had this weird thing against you, your rule, and your whole existence. She gave birth to Mordred in secret and raised him to hate you, to think that you were the source of all her misery. Mordred grew up with a twisted version of the world, one where he was told you were the villain. He wasn't raised to love Camelot, the Round Table, or any of the noble ideas you fought for. No, instead, he was taught to see your kingdom as built on lies and betrayal. He was told you stole his birthright and that you were nothing more than a dictator who needed to be taken down. So when he finally shows up, you don't even recognize him. He's not the son you might have dreamed of. He's not the child you never had a chance to know. He's a weapon, raised to destroy you, and you realize too late that your own blood, the one thing you thought you could rely on, is now the thing that's trying to tear everything apart. His hatred is raw and driven by years of lie, and with his ambition burning through him, there's nothing you can do to stop it. At 30, you're stuck in a constant state of dread. Every day is the same. Endless meetings, petty squabbles with the nobles, and constant pressure to hold everything together. But at night, that's when it gets real. You can't sleep. The weight of your crown is heavier than ever, and is keeping you awake. You lie there, staring at the ceiling, thinking about the kingdom, about your knights, about the betrayal and the lies. Your mind never stops racing. It's like you're in a prison inside your own head. You can't trust anyone anymore. The thought of taking pills to sleep doesn't even cross your mind. You heard too many stories of kings and nobles poisoned through their food, drinks, or even medicine. Every time you eat, you check it yourself, cut the meat and prepare the salad. No one touches your food but you. You don't trust the servants, you don't trust the cooks, and you sure as hell don't trust the doctors. You've seen too many disappear mysteriously in the dead of night. You're always waiting for someone to make their move, and it's exhausting. Your mornings are spent in the stables, feeding your horses, checking his armor, anything to keep your mind off the endless worries. Years pass, and everything starts falling apart. Your kingdom's a mess, and now your own son, Mordred, has taken it from you. He's got your throne, your queen, and now you have to fight for what little's left. The Battle of Mordred is brutal. You're older now, and every day of stress and fear weighs you down. You're slower, your moves more tired, but you can't stop. This fight is everything. Your kingdom, your life, all on the line. Mordred comes at you with nothing but hate, and it shows in every single strike. You can feel the years of anger in each swing of his sword. You try to fight back, knowing this is your last shot, but it's hard. The years of paranoia and betrayal have worn you down. Finally, you land the killing blow, and Mordred hits the ground. But as you fall, you realize there's no way you're getting out of this. The blood pouring out of you, and your body's done. You've won the fight, but at what cost? You'll never see your kingdom again. You thought you'd get to hold on to something. Your crown, your family, the legacy you fought for, but it's all gone. In the end, you did everything you could, and it wasn't enough. Now, you're out of this world. But even after you die, it still doesn't get any better. They just bury you without much thought, like it's no big deal. No big funeral, no one's honoring your name. It's almost like they're glad to be rid of you. Your death doesn't bring peace or anything close to it. People still talk about you like you were some great king, but no one remembers how broken and paranoid you were in the end. How you couldn't sleep at night, worried that someone would come for you. The kingdom falls apart, it splits into pieces, and everyone's just trying to grab what they can. So, your friend just died, right in front of you. You're a Templar, and right now you're in the middle of a war where everyone wants you dead. Death isn't far away, so it's just a few seconds from you. But let's go back 18 years, back to when you were just born. It's the 12th century, and you're in the Holy Land. Your mom just gave birth to you, and guess what's the first thing your dad said? Nothing, because he was already dead. He was a Templar, just like you are now. And you don't get time to be a baby. There's no milk, no diapers, no gentle hands rocking you to sleep. Everyone's just waiting for you to turn 1 so the real training can begin. And honestly, your life as a child isn't any better than your life as an adult. We're talking about food. There's no milk, no cereals, nothing a kid actually likes. Unlike other babies who get hugged and breastfed, a baby born into the Templars is seen as a future warrior, not a child. Milk? Nah, too soft. Instead, they give you thin oatmeal or some kind of bland, watery food. If you're lucky, maybe an old woman gives you goat's milk, but even that's rare. Either way, you better get used to bad food. This is just the beginning. Sleep isn't much better. No cozy bed, no soft blankets, just a wooden box or a pile of straw. While normal babies fall asleep to their parents telling them stories, you fall to the sound of monks singing in Latin. If you cry, nobody picks you up. The monks believe crying builds character, so they just let you figure it out. Then come the teeth. Most babies get soft toys to bite on to help with the pain, but they hand you a small block of wood. You start biting it and then monks nod in approval. He's one of us. And don't even ask about the rest of the meals. It only gets worse. No candy, no warm meals, just dry bread, watery soup, and whatever old leftovers they think will keep you humble. Meanwhile, rich kids are eating roasted meat, and even poor kids get hot stew. But you eat worse than a prisoner. By the time you're walking, you've already been trained to stand still for long prayers. No fun, no playing, just a bunch of serious old men telling you about sacrifice. If you laugh too much, they tell you that it's the devil's influence. If you refuse to eat, they force it down your throat. If you cry too much, they just tell you to man up, even though you're just a few months old. At this point, you're not really a kid. You're just a tiny warrior in training, waiting for the day they finally hand you a sword and tell you to go die for the cause. And then, you turn 5. That's when it all starts. You're handed your first sword, and bam, the real training begins. Now, let's not sugarcoat this. Training at 5 years old is tough. While other kids your age are napping, learning to say mama, or pooping themselves, you're out here trying to hold a sword that's half your size, and learning how to fight like you're in a battle for your life. Ridiculous, right? But what's even more ridiculous are the kinds of drills they put you through. You're 5 years old, sword in hand, doing exercises most adults would struggle with. One minute you're swinging your sword like you're preparing for a big battle, the next you're learning to kneel for hours without moving an inch, because apparently that builds strength of character. But honestly, what's even harder than the training itself is hearing the yelling and barking of the monks who train you. These monks are anything but friendly, and rest isn't in their vocabulary. They expect you to work non-stop, and if you stop because you're tired, they make fun of you, calling you a failure in front of everyone else. So this same routine of training, eating, and sleeping goes on year after year until you're 10. This is the year you're finally going to fight in real wars, and it's the year you get your knight armor, the stuff you only heard about in stories. And trust me, you don't want to wear this armor even for 5 minutes. It's heavy as hell, like having rocks strapped all over your body. Every step you take feels like you're dragging an entire mountain behind you. Walking in it is a sport itself, and let's not mention running with it, just forget about that. The armor weighs about 60 pounds, which is basically carrying a full-grown person with you everywhere you go. And the crazy part is that you have to wear it all day long, the whole day. From the moment you wake up, you're in that thing. You can't take it off until you're about to crash into the bed. It's like being trapped inside a cage of metal, but no one's letting you out. Standing is exhausting enough, but when you need to sit, good luck. The armor doesn't bend or adjust, so you're stuck, stiff and sore. Every moment feels like you're working against your own body. But this is it. This is the life of a Templar, and you've got no choice but to get used to it. Since you're always in your armor, bathing is a rare luxury. You basically smell like a dead rat after just a few days of wearing it. You might get a bath once a month, if you're lucky. But most of the time, you're stuck smelling like sweat, horse, and the leftovers from the battlefield. Deodorant doesn't exist yet, so there's no way to cover it up. You just get used to it, and after a while, you don't even realize how bad you smell. Anyone who walks near you can instantly smell death in the air. It's like the smell has become a part of you, and there's nothing you can do about it. The idea of feeling fresh or clean is long gone. You're a knight now, and that kind of stuff isn't for you. As you get older, around 12 years old, life just gets worse. Now, you're fighting everyone, and I mean everyone. It's a constant battle against rival knights, rogue mercenaries, and sometimes even the Pope himself. One day, you're a hero, praised for your courage. Next, you're being accused of heresy by someone powerful who just happens to have a problem with you. Your name gets dragged through the mud, and you have no choice but to fight to clear it. And quitting? That's not even a thing. It's not an option. If you ever think to yourself that maybe you don't want to die in some random desert for a war you barely understand, too bad. You don't get to walk away. The only way out of the Templars is through death, either dying in battle or getting executed for desertion. There's no running, no backing out. You're in it for life, whether you like it or not. And speaking of death, you might die in the stupidest ways possible. If the battlefield doesn't get you, disease will, or starvation, or something as ridiculous as getting your armor stuck in a mud pit and drowning. You could be right in the middle of a battle, swords clashing, and end up choking in the mud because your armor is too heavy to move. You're constantly battling not just against enemies, but the environment, your own body, and the complete randomness of it all. And when you really stop to think about it, death doesn't look that bad. You're just a broke man, with nothing to your name, no wealth, no freedom. You might be fighting in wars over riches, but you'll never get to see any. The Templars control insane amounts of money, land, and treasures, but as a member, you get paid in prayers and a bed of hay. Instead of standing right next to the chest of gold, stacked high just within reach, well, your own dinner is nothing more than dry bread and thin watery soup. You're part of one of the wealthiest organizations in the world, yet you live like a beggar. At some point, you start to wonder if it would be easier to just give up and let death come. They don't give you a penny for everything you do for them. Nothing. Not even a simple thank you. These are psychopaths who are always chasing you to fight for them, using you as nothing more than a tool in their endless war. You have to do exactly what they tell you, no matter what, or face the consequences. And let me tell you, you'll find out what happens when you don't follow their orders the moment you turn 15. At that age, they start terrorizing anyone who dares to disobey in the worst ways possible. And don't think they just kill you and call it a day. No, they're much more evil than that. If you step out of line, they make sure you die slowly, painfully, and in the most gruesome way imaginable. They'll first kill your family, if any of them are still alive, right in front of you. Watch them suffer, helpless, before they make sure you never forget what happens when you defy them. Then, just when you think that it can't get any worse, they rip your body apart, piece by piece, while you're forced to watch it all. That's the price of disobedience in the Templars. And if you survive, if you somehow make it through that hell, you'll know exactly what it means to fear them. But let's say that you were a good boy, followed their rules, and somehow made it through. At what cost though? You just turned 18, and that's when the real hell begins. This year is the year you get sent to the big wars, the wars that actually matter. Not just some kid anymore. You're thrown right into death. If you made any friends, any connections at all, this is the end for them. Everyone is sent to war, and almost nobody makes it out alive. In war, everything changes. As a Templar Knight, you're thrown into a battle where surviving is all that matters. It's not about fighting anymore, it's just about staying alive. The sounds of swords clashing, arrows flying, and screams through the air. You'll watch soldiers that you fought beside fall in seconds, and you'll have to keep going like nothing ever happened. You can't stop, you can't cry. If you hesitate, it's over for you. It's kill or be killed. You'll see things that no one should have to see. Bodies all over the battlefield, some of them your friends. You might even end up stuck in the middle of it all, fighting for your life with no one left to help. And if you somehow survive the war, even if you make it out alive, your own clan might betray you. It doesn't matter how loyal you are. They might just decide they think that you're a spy or that you've been working with other clans. The second they suspect you of anything, they'll turn on you. They'll accuse you of things that you didn't do, and the people you fought beside could be the ones to take you down. You learn fast that trust is weak in the Templars. One wrong move, one tiny mistake, and you can end up fighting against your own brothers. This was a Templar's life, or at least part of it, since most don't even survive past 18. Now compare that to the life of a ninja. While a Templar is stuck in constant battles and has no choice but to follow orders, a ninja works in the shadows, staying hidden and choosing their moves carefully. It sounds like it could be a more flexible, controlled life, right? The first thing you hear when you're born isn't your mom screaming, or the doctor saying, "It's a boy." There's no cries or joy. Instead, it's the clash of swords, the sounds of your parents fighting, and then the silence that follows. They're dead, right after you're born. You're just a baby, crying and helpless, left alone in the dark, no loving parents to hold you, no one to smile at you. Your parents? They were ninjas, just like you now. But like every ninja, they didn't get a happy ending. Just like you didn't get a happy start. They died fighting, leaving you with nothing but their legacy. You're born in Japan, right in the middle of a war between different clans. The country is torn apart by fighting, and everyone's struggling for control. Your parents, like many others, didn't survive the war. You're found in the trash, abandoned and hungry. A clan stumbles upon you, barely alive, and they decide to take you in. Not out of kindness, but because they see you as a tool. You become their slave, forced to do whatever they say, whether it's cleaning, spying. You don't have a choice. Life is hard, and the only way you survive is by learning how to obey, stay hidden, and do what's asked without any question. You don't know if you'll ever be free, but all you can do is to keep your head down and live another day. You're raised with an understanding that war is not just a part of life, it's life itself as a ninja. A few years go by, and instead of learning how to say mama, you're learning how to throw shurikens. While other kids are out there playing Pokemon and eating candy, you're stuck in ninja school, learning how to sneak around without making a sound. And if you mess up, the big guy comes. Sensei. The closest thing you get is Sensei barking at you to get better at killing people. And let's not even talk about your social life. What social life? The only friends you have are your weapons. While others are playing with toys, you're playing with a katana. Forget about love. The only people around you are other warriors, each one just as broken and as lonely as you. You don't trust anyone because trust gets people killed. A ninja's life is the same every day, even down to the food. Every meal is rice. A lot of it, actually. Not cooked, nice, and juicy, just raw and dry. You eat it because you have to, not because you want to. It's just fuel to keep you alive. Day after day, you're handed the same bowl of cold, bland rice, and it never changes. After a while, even prison food starts to sound good. At least prisoners sometimes get soup or bread. For a ninja, food isn't about enjoying it at all. It's like eating meat in Minecraft. You're only doing it to survive. And your clothes are no better. Your uniform is tight, uncomfortable, and impossible to take off. It sticks to your skin, trapping sweat, dirt, and blood. And the mask? It never comes out. Not when you eat, not when you sleep. It digs into your face, becoming a part of you. You get used to the pain, but it never really stops. There's no such thing as time off to be ready. Even sleep doesn't feel like rest. You might close your eyes, but you're always ready. Every noise, every shadow keeps you on edge. It's like being a dog, ready to wake up and fight at any second. But the discomfort is just the beginning. Being a ninja means living with constant pain. Every single day, you drag yourself through dirt, climb up walls until your hands are raw and sore. And if you make a mistake, you're in trouble. Maybe you'll have to carry something heavy until your arms feel like they'll fall off, or run barefoot on rough ground. And then there's the worst part, your missions. Killing isn't a choice, it's your job. Sometimes it's a soldier in battle. Sometimes a woman, an old man, even a child. It doesn't matter. You're taught to do it fast and not feel anything. But that doesn't mean it doesn't stay with you. The faces of the people you killed follow you, showing up in your dreams whenever you try to sleep. There's no room for weakness. If you hesitate, even for a second, it could all be over. For you or the people who control you. A ninja's life never ends in a good way. There's no retirement, no growing old in peace. Most ninjas die in battle, their lives taken in the middle of war. If you're lucky, it's quick. A sword through your chest or an arrow you didn't see coming. But luck is rare. If an enemy clan catches you, it's a slow and painful death. They'll torture you to get information, breaking your body piece by piece. And if you don't talk, they'll make sure your end is even worse. Some ninjas are thrown to hungry, angry rats. The rats bite and tear your bones while you're still alive, eating you bit by bit as you scream. Even staying alive isn't much better. Keeping your identity hidden and not getting caught is as painful as training non-stop. One small mistake, and it's over. Every mission is a gamble with your life. Most ninjas don't survive long enough to look back, and if they do live, it's like living in a never-ending nightmare. The memories of the people you've killed, the betrayals you've been forced to commit, they follow you in your dreams every single day. And it all starts way too young. By the time you're 10, you're already fighting real battles. While other kids are outside playing or going to school, you're holding a sword and killing grown men. You don't even know what being a teenager is supposed to feel like, because you never had a normal life. As a ninja, your value is all about how many missions you complete. The more you kill, spy, or steal, the higher you move up in rank. Your teammates might respect you, but only if you're useful. If you mess up, things get ugly. They beat you, humiliate you, and make you do the dirtiest jobs, like washing bloody clothes or cleaning poop from toilets, just to remind you how worthless you are. It's like a prison system, but worse, because in prison, there's an end. Here, the suffering never stops. A ninja's life doesn't just destroy you, it destroys everything you touch, including your chance at having a family. Forget about falling in love or finding someone to share your life with. Marriage isn't about happiness or partnership, it's about orders. The clan decides who you marry, and it's not because they care about your feelings. They want more ninjas, and you're nothing more than a tool to make that happen. Your partner might be someone you barely know, someone you've never spoken to before. There's no romance, no connection, just duty. You're not building a family, you're following orders. And when you have kids, it's not a moment of joy, it's the start of another nightmare. The clan doesn't see your children as your flesh and blood. They see them as future warriors to continue the cycle of war and death. And here's the worst part. You're the one who has to prepare them for that life. You're forced to do to them what was done to you. You teach them how to fight, how to kill, how to forget what it means to be human. You watch their innocence fade away as they become what the clan wants them to be, emotionless weapons. And every time they cry, every time they look at you with fear or confusion, it breaks something inside you. But you can't stop, because if you go against the clan, they'll kill you. Or worse, they'll kill your family. You tell yourself you're doing it to protect them, to keep them alive. But deep down, you know that you're just making another link in this endless cycle of suffering. And it doesn't stop with your family. Every bond you try to form is poisoned by the life you live. You can't trust anyone, not even your own teammates. The people you fight alongside, they'll turn on you in the moment the clan orders them to. Friendships don't exist in this world. Relationships are fake, temporary, and built on lies. Even if by some miracle you care about someone, showing it is dangerous. Emotions make you weak, and the weak get destroyed. If the clan finds out you care about someone, they'll use that against you. They'll threaten to hurt them if you step out of line. The only thing more painful than the life you live is knowing that it's never going to change. Even if you survive long enough to see old age, what's left? You spent your whole life fighting, killing, and destroying. You don't know how to live any other way. The memories of all the things you've done, all the people you've hurt, they don't fade. And if you manage to escape the clan, the world doesn't let you forget. You're always looking over your shoulder, waiting for the day they find you. They don't let people walk away. Not alive anyways. The truth is, a ninja's life isn't really a life at all. No freedom, no peace, and no way out. You're not a hero or a warrior. You're just a tool, living a life that's short, painful, and forgotten. After hearing about the suffering of a ninja, it makes me wonder, how does it compare to the life of a samurai? Is it really any harder? That's the question, and here's where it gets more interesting. I made a video about the shitty life of a samurai, so why not check it out? Watch it, compare the two, and let me know in the comments whose life was truly the hardest.
The sound of a sword being drawn breaks the silence in a random morning, waking you up to a life that's already been decided for you. You've just been born in Japan, and it's the 16th century. Right now, you don't even know it, but your life is about to get really hard. After only 5 seconds of being alive, your dad is already dreaming of you as strong, fatty samurai, looking at you like you're the next warrior, even though you can't even hold your head up yet. Right now, you're just a baby, crying. All you want is some milk, and more like the small puppy than the tough fighter they want you to be. Welcome to real life, kid, born into a world of strict rules, honor, and a little too much pressure. From the beginning, your life is planned out. Your parents have decided what you'll be, a samurai. That means forgetting about playing games and sleeping all day. You're going to be spending most of your childhood learning how to fight and follow the rules. You don't get to decide what's fun or not. Your world is built around becoming the perfect samurai. And let's be honest, when you're just a little kid, all you want to do is eat, play, and poop your diapers. By the time you're 5, while other kids are running out around playing games, you're stuck in this hell of non-stop training. You don't even get to mess around. You've got to learn how to sit still, how to hold a sword, and how to behave in a way that shows you're ready to be a samurai. Every little mistake, yeah, it's a big mistake in your dad's eyes. If you're caught moving too much or making noise, you're in trouble. And your dad is not happy unless you're perfect. He's already pushing you harder than most kids are pushed. And you haven't even hit puberty yet. And then, there's your family shrine. Visits there are supposed to be peaceful, but for you, they're more like training tests. You have to sit there for what feels like hours, trying not to sneeze, trying not to move an inch. The insect burning, making your nose itch, but you can't do anything about it. If you mess up, it's not about you, it's about your whole family and your honor. Your first real test starts at the age of 6, when it's time for your first samurai haircut. You've seen other kids go through it, but you can't help but giggle a little and continue your hell training. But now it's your turn. You're getting a grown-up look, and it feels weird. Your head's too heavy, like you're wearing a helmet made of hair. This hair looks ugly, but wait until you hear about the hakama. These are those traditional pants that make you look fancy, but honestly, they're just created to make your life even harder. Walking on them is actually more painful than holding a sword for 10 seconds. Every step feels awkward. You want to complain, but you can't. You're supposed to be that strong warrior, and your dad wants no mistakes. Around age 7, things really start to change. Remember those cozy home nights? Yeah, those days are over. Welcome to the dojo. It's not a fun place. You're about to spend all your time there, and rest is not in the vocabulary. Your master's first lesson is how to sit. And I don't mean for a few minutes. We're talking hours. At first, your legs feel like they're on fire. It's painful, and your body starts begging you to move, but you can't. If you move, you get in trouble. You're not allowed to show any weakness. Just sit forward, stay focused, and do not make any sound. Not even a fart. You have to be tough, and that means controlling everything. This is what being a samurai is about. When you're around 10, it's time for the real stuff. You start your sword training. At first, it feels heavy. Your hands shake holding the sword, and you're not sure if you're doing it right. But who cares if it's hard for you? Every time you mess up, your master will punish you. And the shame won't stop there. It'll come crashing down on your entire family. Imagine being the kid who can't even hold a sword right, while your whole clan watches. When you hit 12, you're expected to fight in real battles. It's not just training anymore. Now, you're out here facing the real enemies who want to kill you. One wrong move can cost you your life, or worse, bring shame to your family. By your teen years, you just realize how heavy this life really is. This is when you understand what seppuku means. It's the samurai way to get your honor if you mess up badly. If you fail so badly that you can't fix it, you take your own life. It's not a choice anyone wants to think about. But as a samurai, it's part of the deal. If you bring too much shame, this is the only way to fix it. Honor and shame are like a thorn buried deep in your foot. They'll follow you every step of your life as a samurai. Impossible to escape. By the time you hit your 20s, that's if you're still alive. You've seen a lot of deaths. You've been in battles, and you've lost almost all your friends. Being a samurai also means dealing with diet. That's, well, not exactly fun. You probably imagined big meals with meat and tons of food, right? But when you finally sat down to eat, it's rice. Yep, just rice, and a lot more of it. Maybe some fish and some miso soup if you're lucky. But that's pretty much it. You're still hungry, but this is all you get. Then there's tofu. It's spongy, tasteless, and honestly, it's a struggle to get it down. You're definitely wishing for something better. But hey, this is the samurai way. You eat every day for the rest of your life. As you get older, tough, there's something else you know is coming. Your samurai tattoo. You've seen other warriors walking around with those cool tattoos and thought, that looks awesome. But now it's your turn. The tattoo artist starts, and suddenly the pain hits you. Feels like a bunch of pins poking over you over and over again. It's way worse than you thought. You can't say a word, no matter how much it hurts. And the worst part, you can't scratch while it's healing. You just have to suck it up, because that's the part of becoming a true warrior. And through all this, your dad's standing there, making sure you're a real one. We've already talked about the hakama and the whole weird haircut situation, but I totally forgot about something else. Their shoes. So you think samurai had cool clothing, right? Well, forget their sneakers or comfy boots. Samurai wore geta, these wooden sandals that honestly make you feel like you're walking on Lego pieces. You've got to walk around in these heavy, awkward sandals all day, every day. And running, just forget about it. Just walking is a whole nother sport itself. It's like every piece of samurai clothing was made to make your life even harder. Sure, you might not be a strong warrior, but trust me, your shoes are definitely not helping you impress anyone. Not even your grandma. The only thing that sounds cool about them is the little clack they make when you walk. That's about it. So let's say you've been training all day. You're exhausted and all you want to do is rest and sleep. You finally hit the pillow and fall asleep right away. But just 3 hours later, you remember. You're a samurai. That means your good night's sleep is cut short. Forget about more than 3 hours of rest. It's time to get up and train again. Because seriously, what else is there to do in this life? Make friends? Just forget that. When you're a samurai, the word friend doesn't even exist. All you're supposed to do is train, and then train some more. It's the same exhausting cycle every day. And if you're caught sleeping in, it's not just a slap in the face. It's a big mistake. You'll get punished, maybe even publicly shamed in front of your whole clan. Then, by the time night rolls around again, your muscles are screaming for rest. But nope, you've still got hours of training ahead. So this is the life of the samurai. If we had to sum it up in one word, a lot of pain. I know this is more than one word, but you get the point. It's a cycle that never stops. You wake up, train, eat some rice, train some more, eat some more rice, sleep, and then repeat. Day after day, it's the same thing. There's no room for anything else. No time for fun, no time for relaxation. You live, breathe, and sleep. And when you finally have kids of your own, well, guess what? You treat them just like your dad treated you. The cycle continues. You wake them up early, throw them into training, feed them rice, and repeat. And that, my friend, is how you become a samurai. Through endless suffering and sacrifice. If you like this video, make sure to hit that subscribe button and like the video, or else I'll be your samurai dad. Let me know in the comments if you're ready to become a samurai and live the pain-filled rice life.